Hi, welcome to my video on the remainder theorem. The remainder theorem will be used in quite a few of my videos. Remainder theorem. When a polynomial p of x is divided by the binomial x minus a, the quotient q of x is a polynomial of x and the remainder r is a constant. Polynomial is the divisor times the quotient plus the remainder. Previous to this, we wrote down the p of x is the polynomial, is the divisor x minus a times the quotient, which is the q of x, plus the remainder. Now, before we used to call it the r of x, but we just now call it r. It's all the same thing. So this is the divisor being divided into the polynomial. You get the quotient plus the remainder. So what happens is if you do the p of a, notice that x is equal to a. So if you do the p of a, then a goes into place of x. So you get the q of a plus r. So that's 0 times, and this is remainder here, the q of a. So 0 times the q of a is 0 plus r. So we have that the p of a is equal to r, the remainder. So when you take a polynomial and sub a value in for x, you are getting the remainder. And that reminds me of, if you think about it, if you had y equals x plus 2, and you said x was equal to 1, y would equal to 1 plus 2, so y would be equal to 3. So if you said the p of x equals x plus 2, then the p of x is 1, the p of 1 is 1 plus 2, so the p of 1 would be a 3. So really, the p of a is the remainder, but it's also the y value when you're looking at a polynomial in terms of a graph. So the remainder is the y value when you sub the x value into the polynomial. That is, when a polynomial p of x is divided by x minus a, the remainder r is the p of a. So subbing the value of x into the polynomial, and the constant that's on the end is the remainder. Example, find the remainder of each. So p of x, this is the polynomial, this is the divider. So this is your divisor. So x minus 2, the a value is 2. So we're looking for the p of 2. So what we're doing, the p of 2, because this is the p of x right here. So we're subbing 2 into the polynomial. And that gives you a 4. And I just do the power first by PEMDAS. And we multiply to get 6, and so the remainder comes out to be a negative 1. So the p of 2 is a negative 1. So that means the p of 2 is equal to 1, which is your remainder. And just to look at that, let's take this polynomial, and we're doing a 2. We're plugging 2 in. Let's do this by synthetic division. We got a 1, negative 3, 1. 1, negative 3, 1. Draw a line, bring down your 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. 2 times negative 1 is the negative 2. And we have a negative 1. Notice that the remainder is right there. That's your remainder. And this is your quotient. So subbing in doing the p of x, subbing in x into the polynomial gives a remainder, which is related to, which is the y value. And let's do another one. A, if x plus 1, a is negative 1, like the opposite when we did synthetic division, like a factor. If that was a factor, it would be minus 1, would be your divisor that you're doing with synthetic division. So this is the p of negative 1. So the p of x is 3x squared plus 2x minus 10. There's your p of x. So we're doing the p of negative 1. So we're subbing in negative 1 in the place of x, and we're simplifying it. So we do the power first. Negative 1 squared is 1. So we do the power by PEMDAS. Then we do the product, 3, negative 2 minus 10. And that's negative 1 and minus 10 is negative 9. So the p of negative 1 equals negative 9, which is the remainder. Remember, the p of a, when you sub it into a polynomial, you get your remainder. And that's the same as if you did synthetic division. When you do your opposite of negative 2 is the 2, and work your synthetic division into the polynomial with this binomial here. Oh, sorry, trinomial. Trinomial is 3 term, binomial is 2. Okay, let's continue. Make sure. Examples, find a remainder. Again, we have a polynomial. This is 3, 2, 1, we're okay. This is a negative 1, x minus 1, so the a is opposite, which is 1. So we're doing the p of 1. So the p of 1, we're subbing 1 in. Take the time and put 1 in. We do the exponent first. 1 cubed is 1, and 1 squared is 1. We multiply next to get the 3. PEMDAS, we do the powers first, then the multiplication. Now we add 4 minus 2 is 2. And again, just as a little illustration, if we did 1, opposite of x minus 1 is 1, and we did 1, 3, negative 1, negative 1. 1, 3, negative 1, negative 1. Draw a line, we get 1, bring it down, multiply 1, add 4, multiply 4, add, you get 3. Multiply, you get 3, add, you get 2. And again, notice, that's the remainder right there. And the same here, a is negative 2. We're doing the p of negative 2. So the p of negative 2, we're putting negative 2 in the place of x. And negative 2 to the 4th power is 16. And I could multiply to get the negative 4, but let's do the power first and the product after. And that gives us 12 plus 3 is 15. The only thing about doing synthetic division here, you got to be careful. Even though we're going to do a negative 2, we have to make sure. Notice that the x cubed is not there, so we have to have a 0. So we have a x, and we don't have a, also we don't have what? 0x squared. So if we're doing synthetic division here, we have a 1, 0, 0, negative 2, 3. So we got a 1, 0, 0, negative 2, 3. Because this starts with x to the 4th, then you got to have x cubed, x squared, x. So, but when you do the p of a, the value of x into the expression, then it works out, not worrying about descending order. Just simplify it. Bring down to 1, negative 2, add, negative 2, multiply, 4, add, 4, multiply, negative 8, which gives us negative 10. And we get, just be careful here, we have 12, that's 15, So bring down to 1, multiply. Negative 2, add. Negative 2, that's a 4. That's a negative 8. And that's negative 10. And that's a 20. How come I got a 23? Something is gone. 1, negative 2, 3. We're dividing by 2. That's 16. 4. 16 minus 4 is 12, plus 3 is 15. And I have this in the right order. 1, 0, 0, negative 2, 3. Negative 2, add, multiply, 4. Add 4, multiply 8. Negative 10, 20, 23. They're not the same. I can't see where my mistake is. And I'm looking, but it's one of those things. The mistake is there, but I can't see it. Let's see, I have negative 2 to the 4th, and that's, oh, I'm putting in negative 2. There it is. That's a negative 2, so that's a 4. I knew the 23. I put in negative 2 here, but only put 2 in here, so it's a negative 2, gives you 4, 23, and the remainder is on the end of 23. So doing synthetic division and plugging in the P of A, you should get the same answer for remainder. Okay, pause the video and work this one out. So A is 3, opposite. So we're doing the P of 3. So the P of 3 is 4, 3 squared, 6 times 3 minus 3. Power first, 9. Now we do the multiplication left to right, 36. 18 minus 3. 18 minus 3 is 15. And let's check with synthetic division. And we're dividing by 3 into. It's in descending order, so we got a 4, negative 6, negative 3. Bring down your 4. 3 4s are 12. That's a 6. 18. Subtract 3 is 15. So there's the remainder. Perfect. That's the remainder right there, 15. And we're going to do this one with find the remainder with synthetic division or P of A, both, whatever way you want. A is opposite of this is negative 5, so we're doing the P of negative 5. So the P of negative 5 is negative 5 cubed 2 negative 5, 4, negative 5. So negative 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125, and a negative cubed is negative 125. 2, negative 5 squared is 25. And we have 4. So I did the exponents first, or the powers. Now I'm going to multiply next to get a negative 50 and a negative 20. So that's negative 75, that's a negative 95. And let's just check with synthetic division. We have a negative 5, and there's a 3, 2, 1, so it's a 1, negative 2, 4. Put down your 1, bring down your 1, 5 times negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Add, you get negative 7. 5 times 7 is 35. Add, you get a 39. Now, again, I have A is negative 5. And I have, notice, constant. That's not the remainder. The remainder, I got to put a 0 on because I got to keep going down to that constant. So there's a 0 on the end. So when you multiply here, you get a negative 195. So when you add, you get a negative 195. So notice I stopped at that's a cube, square, linear. I had to have a 0 on the end in order to get the negative 195. So you got to be careful. You got to go right on to the end to the constant term. Okay. The more practice you do, the better you get. Find a remainder in 3 different ways. The p of x is equal to x squared plus 6x minus 1. The divisor is x minus 2. So one way that we practice is we did the division the long way. So I'm just illustrating. I'm going to do the division the long way. So x into x squared goes x. Multiply back, you get x squared minus 2x. Draw a line. That's a positive, so we make it a negative. That's a negative, so we make it a positive. They cancel out. Positive 6, positive 2 is 8x. Bring down your next term, negative 1. 8 into, or x into 8x is a plus 8. Multiply back, you get 8x minus 16. Draw a line, that's a plus, you make it a minus. That's a minus, you make it a plus. They cancel, positive 8, negative 8. Negative 1 plus 16 is 15. So the remainder, this is your quotient of x plus 8, and your remainder is 15. So that's your remainder right there. So what about if we did, the divisor is x minus 2, so a is 2. So if we did the p of 2 into the equation, let's see what we get, the p of 2. So we're putting 2 in here. So we're subbing 2 in right here and here. There it is. That's a 4. I did the power first. Now I multiply to get 12. And 16 minus 1 is 15. Again, that's the remainder right there. And the other way that we could do it is we have this as the divisor, so we do synthetic division by 2. And this is in descending order, so we got 1, 6, negative 1. 1, 6, negative 1. So we bring down the 1, multiply, we get a 2. Add, we get an 8. Gives us 16. And add, you get 15. And when you do synthetic division, your remainder is a constant term right on the end of 15. So that's 3 ways. And again, let's do this one 3 ways. Pause your video. So the divisor is x plus 1. And we divide it into 3, 2, 1 constant. So it's x cubed minus 2x squared plus 3x plus 4. So x into x cubed is x squared. Again, I put the squares above the squares to keep it lined up. Multiply, you get x cubed. Multiply, you get a plus x squared. That's a plus, you make it a minus. That's a plus, you make it a minus. So plus 1 minus 1 cancels. Negative 2 minus 1 is the negative 3x squared. Bring down your next term. And x into negative 3x squared is a negative 3x. Multiply back. Negative 3x squared minus 3x. And that minus becomes a plus. That minus becomes a plus. So they cancel. Plus 3 is plus 6x. Add on the 4. Bring down the 4. X into 6x is plus 6. Multiply back. 6x. 6 times 1 is 6. That's a plus. You make it a minus. That's a plus. You make it a minus. Plus 6 minus 6 cancels. 4 subtract 6 is negative 2. So again, this is your remainder when you do the long division. And so let's see what A is negative 1. So we'll do the P of negative 1. So I'm subbing negative 1 in for x. So negative 1 cubed, negative 2, negative 1 squared, negative 1, plus 4. Subbed in. Powers first. Negative 1 cubed is negative. 3 negatives makes a positive 1. So it's a negative 1. And a negative 1 squared is 1. And I'm only doing the powers first. Done. Now I do the multiplication next. Negative 2 negative 3 plus 4. So I multiply this one and this one. Now I simplify. So that's a negative 2. And in the P of A is the remainder. So the remainder, again, is negative 2. And when I do synthetic division, I'm using negative 1. So I just practice on each of them. So that's a descending order is okay. So 1, negative 2. And then 3 and 4. Draw a line, bring down your 1, multiply, negative 1, add, negative 3. Multiply negative 1, negative 3 is 3, is just 6. Multiply, negative 6, and add, you get negative 2. So that's your remainder right there. So I showed you that the long division gave you a remainder. You did your P of A, and you got a remainder. You did your synthetic division, you got a remainder. So you have, but the long division, everything works. But what's faster? Again, sometimes I use this one, sometimes I use this one. And I only use this one if I have to. And we have 2 more to do. Find remainder when the x to the 4th minus x squared plus 6x minus 7 is divided by. So that means that, according to this, a is 1. So we do the p of 1, because this is your polynomial. So we put a 1 in. 1 in the place of x. Done. So again, the opposite of negative 1 is 1. So we're putting 1 in. So that's the p of a. So 1 to the 4th is 1. And negative, or the negative of 1 squared is 1. And we leave the 6. I'm only doing the powers. Just so I get 1, negative 1 plus 6 minus 7. So they cancel. And I get 6 minus 7 is negative 1. So the remainder is right there. And if I want to do a check, I wouldn't do long division on this one because it would be too long. But if I put 1, my divisor is x minus 1, I'll do a 1. But I got to do 4, 3. That means x cubed is missing. So I have a 1 for x to the 4th. No x cubed, so I got a 0. I got a 1, sorry, negative 1 for x squared, 6 for x, and a negative 7. So see if this works out. Bring down to 1, multiply, 1, add, 1, multiply, 1, add, 0, multiply, 0, add, 6, multiply, 6, add. Oh, perfect. So it's your choice which way you want to do it, by subbing it in, do the P of A or synthetic division. And number 2, we got a long division here. I would not want to do this long division. Let's do it very quickly by saying that A is negative 2. So even when I do the P of negative 2, watch, I'm subbing negative 2 in. So you can see subbing negative 2 in for this one. There it is. Now I'm going to work this out. So that's 2, and the negative 2 to the 5th power is 2 times 2 is 4, 8, 16, 32. And negative 2 to the 4th power is positive 16. Negative 2 to the cubed is negative 8. Negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 2 plus 3. Now I have to multiply to get a negative 64. And I got 16, 8. There it is. And when I add all that up, I will get a negative 51. But if you did the synthetic division there, and you did a negative 2 bracket, then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, they're all there. So you go 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and you go with a 3. So you got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Draw a line. Bring down your 2. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4, add negative 3. Multiply, gives you 6, add, it gives you 7. Multiply, negative 14, add, negative 13. 2 times negative 13 is 26, add is 27, and you multiply, you get a negative 54, add, you get a negative 51. And when you do synthetic division, when you do the P of A, the constant term that comes out is your remainder. When you do synthetic division, the last number is your remainder. So that's working out, this is called a remainder theorem. Remember, just note that the P of A is your remainder when you plug it in. But also, I relate it to the Y value. Don't forget, when you plug an X value into a polynomial, when you plug it into equation, you're getting the remainder. You're getting the Y value as if you're doing it as an ordered pair. So that brings us to the end of this video. And if you like my video, click the like button. If you're not a subscriber, then subscribe to my channel. Visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my video, and the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.